Welcome to Ken's Corner Podcast, Season 3. Get ready for expert analysis and rising wrestling stars. Now here we go with your host, Ken Judge.
Hey everyone, this is Ken from Ken's Corner, and I'm back with professional wrestler Gordy Rattler. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm not sure what I see you have a Cleveland Browns shirt on. You are in Florida. I'm hoping that you're not a Tampa Bay or Florida Panther fan, because I am a Leaf fan up here in Toronto. But anyway, besides that, let's get into your career and how you began. So I know you're training out of, I think it's called Brick Entertainment. Am I right? Brick City?
Brick City Entertainment, yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your start, when you started, how you started, and just give the public some update on who Gordy Rattler is.
So I would say about 2 years ago now, I received a phone call from who people know as Eric Rebel Page. He says, "Hey man, I'm looking to start up a wrestling promotion, and I'll train you. Of course, tuition and everything, but we'll get you going on the show." And I'm like, immediately, count me in. I'm across the state from him at the time, finishing up school, and he calls, and I mean, every day when I left school for class and everything, we were discussing stuff like future events, kind of looking through people that we knew potentially to see if they would want to train with us. And then about a year and about 9 months ago from today, Mark Tendler, aka Death Mark, who's a third generation wrestler, he came down to Florida and started training with us. Got us really consistent into the training schedule. He's just a quick rundown of him. He's the grandson of Kitty Adams and Prince Charming Mark Tendler.
Oh, very nice. That's good.
And then he kind of looked at me and said, "We're gonna light a fire under you, and we're gonna get you going."
So you've been going ever since, and here we are today. I'm gonna talk a little bit about who actually brought us together here today. Your friend, and sometimes my friend, the Colonel Brute.
Yeah, Colonel Brute. What a guy right there. I only met him a couple events ago, so probably about 2 or 3 months ago. And he's a great guy. We got sat down and talked a little bit, and he brought me to you. Told me, "Hey, let's get you on Ken's Corner." And I'm like, count me in. Any opportunity, I love.
Did he offer you some money to join his stable yet?
Oh yeah, but
he's the manager of champions, Gordy. So it's maybe not a bad idea for you. Who knows? But I mean, that's your choice in your future.
I mean, much love, but as I kept doing in the show.
There you go. Now let's talk about who your favorite wrestler was growing up.
Jeff Hardy. I mean, you hear a lot of controversy about, him wrestling and everything today. Kids these days will never know the Jeff Hardy that people my age or even before me knew. And, I actually, fun fact, when I was in like 5th grade, I went to his front door asking for a picture in Cameron, North Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love the Carolinas. I really do. I'm envious of where you are right now. I mean, you're in Florida, but the Carolinas and Florida are very beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. And I love that, God put me here for my whole life. I mean, shouldn't say my whole life. I mean, I've moved across the country and came back, but wrestling hub pretty much for anything pro wrestling, indie wrestling is in Florida.
Yeah.
From what it appears. So it's, very
right.
fortunate.
It is a hotbed. I've been told this many and many times from very many wrestlers. Now let's talk about your first memory of wrestling. What is your first encounter of professional wrestling in your life?
I had to be what, 3 years old. Everybody, who has a son, typically they like to, play wrestle with their kid when they're a little boy. Um, my dad, I remember him, kind of throwing me up and down, and he starts talking about the Big Show. I'm like, who's the Big Show? And he kind of tells me, oh, he's a wrestler. And first I'm like, okay, whatever. Lightning McQueen, whatever, whatever was childhood back then. Then I remember I saw him watching SmackDown one night. I believe it was a fatal four-way match between Finley, Dolph Ziggler, Mike Knox, and R-Truth, and I was hooked. Like, it's history since then.
You're giving me pins and needles. I watch Raw and SmackDown every weekend, and I love getting out to the indie shows. There's nothing like it, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. You get hooked, and it's, I mean, life-changing just, watching it, and then you step into it, and you're like, okay,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Now we've talked a little bit about Colonel Brute, and I seen the gesture you're making towards him. But let's talk about some of the good people that you believe you've met since you've been in indie wrestling.
I gotta give it to Deathmark again. He's a coach, but also became one of my best friends. Outside of wrestling. I mean, there's been times I've stayed, stayed at his house with him. When he first, finally got settled down here again. There's a lot I can say about him in a positive way. Not much I can say about him in a negative way. But another person I can really, really want to give their props to is Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher, he's been really helping me out lately, and if he sees this, I want to thank him like a lot. And then last but not least, Buck Bresner, the Great American Giant from WCW.
Yes, I consider the American Giant a good friend. He's been on my podcast twice, so uh,
Oh, has he?
yeah, that's really nice of you to bring his name up. Thank you.
Yeah, he's very down to earth, and I not nothing bad I can say about that man.
Yeah, thank you. I only have a few more questions for you here today, Gordy. This one actually, now that you've been an independent wrestler for a couple of years now, or a year, I think what you were saying. But anyway, what is your advice to people who want to join the wacky world of independent wrestling?
What you give is what you're gonna get. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And you know, you can be the greatest, athlete in the world, but I've come to find out, and I've seen it already. If you don't love what you do in every aspect, you need to learn to love it, or you need to learn to find something else. I mean,
Mhm.
that's the cold hard truth about it.
That's advice that we can all live on just in our lives in general, Gordy. So thank you for saying that. Now I want people to know where to find Gordy Rattler. What is your social media outlets?
I have Instagram that I use primarily. It's Gordy underscore Rattler. And Twitter, I believe, is the same thing. It's Gordy Rattler. I have a Facebook account I usually promote stuff on. Names on there, Gordy Rattler, but that's about it.
Oh, that's good. It's a lot of areas. So people, if or promoters, if you want to find Gordy, now you know how. The last thing I got for you, Gordy, I'm going to leave the floor open for anything that you want to add to this interview today.
Um, Shout out to Eric Rebel Page. I mean, I know we don't get along currently, in kayfabe or whatever, but you're a great man. I appreciate you. Shout out to my dad and stepdad and everybody else in my family for, believing me in this journey. And
Amazing.
and I cannot say this enough. Everything you do, make sure you love it wholeheartedly.
And that's some final words from Gordy Rattler. Thank you so much. My name's Ken, and I'm on Ken's Corner podcast with professional wrestler from Florida, Gordy Rattler. Thank you very much, sir. You have a great day.
Thank you so much.